Hey guys, Fatip Grande. It's an open comb razor from the Italian Fatip maker. It's a hollow handle, so even though it's got a little bit of girth to it, it's lighter than the piccolo type handle, the thinner solid one. The brush we're going to be using today is a Badger brush, and you can see it's a 3-band because this white layer down here is a lot thicker, and it is from the Golden Nib, and it is a premium Silvertip. Silvertip they have grade A Silvertip and a premium. That's the premium. I like it. It's a little softer than the grade A. I don't think the grade A really gave me any benefit. It didn't give me any more backbone. Just the tips were just not quite as soft. But you know, if that's what you like, then it's there for you. Inside that razor, we're going to put the Valobra. Valobra is the soap, the Nacet, and we just shaved 270 times with it, and so today is going to be 271. And there's the dots that kind of make up the signature. That X that I started out with so many shaves ago has long faded now. The little legs, the tips of the X, kept around for a while, but they just are finally gone. So that shows 270. So we're going to add another dot to the envelope after today's shave. I decided to step back a little bit. This Silvertip brush that I showed you is one that I actually keep here in the bathroom because it's one of my favorites. But because it's here and it's not in my office where I'm selecting my gear, I don't use it very much. And so I thought, hey, let's just switch that around. So I'm probably going to move it back to my office so that I can be reminded that it's there more often. The soap we're going to use today is Valobra, and it's the softer cream, not cream, but Croap, very soft soap. Now this had lost a lot of moisture, so it was actually a little bit on the firm side, but I was still able to press it down. It was stored in here in the rectangular block configuration that it comes in, but I decided that I'm going to do brush loading instead of scooping, and so I pressed it down with my thumb, moved it out. It has aged, and so the scent is not, that almond scent, not quite as nice as it used to be. Let's just see what happens after we lather it and things like that, though. And as you can maybe see around the corner, it did get a little, lost some of its moisture there, so it did get a little crumbly in a few places, but the inside was still had its moisture, and so it was able to easily conform around. So I bet we'll be able to rejuvenate that soap with just a few uses. I am going out on a limb here. I got this as a part of a lot purchase where I bought a whole box of stuff, and Barrister and Mann Arctique, and it seems like it's going to be a very potent aftershave experience. It's got alcohol, it's got witch hazel, it's got menthol, and it might have a lot of menthol. So I believe that's one of the things it's known for. And this is the summer though, so I figure if I'm going to try it, I usually don't like menthol or a lot of it. If I'm going to try it, this is going to be the time. All right, so let me get my face wet. Maybe a day and a half of growth, maybe a little bit less than that, so a little bit more than usual. And I do have my Dollar Tree Santa Fe shave bowl. It's a soup bowl, of course, at the Dollar Tree. Royal Norfolk is the maker, and you can get them for $1 and try it out. This is a 22 millimeter Silvertip knot, and I'm thinking that size is going to fit pretty well in this one. 26 millimeter and those big splay knots have a hard time in that bowl. At least my fingers get all messy, that sort of thing. All right, let's load up. And this is one of the gripes about Fatip razors. They're a great value. They're also a lifetime razor because of the brass core. It's not like a Zamac, Parker, Muley, Merkur, where that threading in that post right there, eventually that's going to wear out. And then after your shave, if you leave any water, the plating there is going to wear out on the threads just because of how it's used. And if you leave any water in that connection, then it's going to rapidly deteriorate that Zamac interior, the pot metal. And so with this one, you've got brass inside, so nothing to worry about. And with the Zamac razors, then, and once that deteriorates, they'll break. And we've seen a good many instances of that online with people, well, my thing broke and now I need to figure out my new razor or whatever. So with Fatips, the alignment can be an issue because there's a little bit of play. It's not as precision built in terms of the placement of the blade. So there's a little bit of play involved. And so you have to, yep, I'm a little tilted. So I just back it off like that. Twist it on the other side to make sure it's even on both perspectives. And I believe, nope, a little bit more. Okay, so this is one of those times where and there we go. There we go. A little bit longer, but I think it's one of those things that's probably worth it, because if you are on a budget, this is one of the best razors out there, in my opinion. Very smooth, good cutter though, and it will last you a lifetime. And so it's worth the 30 seconds, but usually it's just like 3 seconds to adjust the blade. Half the time you don't have to address it at all because it just lands in the right way. All right, now this is a soap that hasn't been used in a while, so what are we going to do? We're going to use my normal 30-second load. This is a soft brush. It's not going to pick up soap quite as quickly as a firm brush. Why don't we try 40 seconds? Okay, shake out most of the water is what I often do. And we started right at 41 there. We're going to go 40 seconds. So we'll go to 21 seconds on the next minute. Now, because of the water in the brush, it is starting up with a very bubbly, airy bit of lather, and that's fine, but we're not going to use that. Another 15 seconds, it looks like. And it's starting to not get quite as bubbly, and that's good. And there is a 40-second load. Now, so you can see the bubbly stuff that starts up right away. Let's just kind of rinse that down the toilet here. Well, sink, I guess. It's not a toilet. And but look on the inside. You see how after we went at it for a while, the interior stuff changed? And that bubbly stuff is gone. So let's just see if 40 seconds is enough. I'm now going to turn this upside down and rinse out the sides of the container. These types of steel containers, I understand. I kind of came along after these were the norm, and so I only have a few soaps that use this. Well, you know, Dr. John still does. WSP, yeah, there's some that still do, but Sterling has switched to the. I think Sterling used to use these, right? Anyway, but they, I've got some Dr. John's that where the soap was allowed to kind of get around the side of the container, and it's really actually hard to remove the lid in that case. So I want to make sure to clean that up. All right, let's just see what this lather turns into. So this is a 24 millimeter handle. It might even take a 25 millimeter. The hole might be actually bigger. But I put a 22 millimeter knot in it. I've got a goatee, obviously, and so I don't need big splay because the area I'm trying to work is kind of a narrow tract of land. It's just curvy. So in the very beginning, this is one of the first badgers I got. In the very beginning, I tried out a 24 millimeter whip dog, and I thought, well, this works well, but it's plenty. Why don't I try a 22 millimeter whip dog? And so I did. And so then when it came time to work with the golden nib stuff, I said, well, why don't I just go ahead and start with a 22? And so that is what I have. Sometimes upping the diameter of the brush will give you more bristles, and sometimes that can benefit you in terms of your backbone. If your brush is a little too floppy, you can try a bigger knot. one of the things you can do. You can sink it deeper into the handle. You could put some O-rings around it. Actually, this has one O-ring right there at the base of the knot. It was just a little too floppy the last time I used it. Yeah, this used to be, I believe, a sweeter almond type knot, and right now it's more of the kind of bitter almond essence, if you will. I think it lost some of that sweetness due to time. Some of these soaps I enjoy so much, but they just don't stay fresh because I can only use them so often. There are just so many good ones to choose from. I wish that I guess I could make a note of those that might like consecutive use, and sell what I have of those, and put them on a list, and then when I feel like using those for like a month straight or something like that, then I could just buy a fresh puck or something, who knows. Lather looks great. Definitely believe that I loaded for long enough. We've got 2 teaspoons in it already. Now, something about Valobra is changing. I don't know if the company got bought out or something. I don't know whether it's the hard pucks that are not going to be made anymore, or if it's this soft croap that is what's not going to be made. This is the Valobra Almond. They also make a menthol version as well, and I of course don't. That's not my thing. So something about Valobra is changing, and so if it happens to be one of your favorites, you may want to find out what that is and pick up some. So we've got 3 teaspoons in it. I'm going to mix for just a little while, and then I'm going to do a finger test and just see how it's feeling right now. Visibly, does it look like it needs more water? Yeah. Visibly, I usually like to take a soap further than this, get it more hydrated. Let's pull it all down and do kind of a lift up here. Yeah, I mean, it still kind of collapses with a lot of weight, so it might be about right, but let's feel it now. We're using our eyes and our, oh yeah, see, that's nice and slick. It's a thin type of slickness. Do I get very much cushion? And yeah, a little bit. So that's going to give a luxurious feel. So last weekend, my car broke down, died, overheated, blew a head gasket or something like that. So I'm going to have to just kind of sell it for parts. Then yesterday, the loaner vehicle that a very kind soul loaned me decided that that was the day its brakes were going to fail. Fortunately, I'm safe, and it failed in a locky up kind of way, where I could feel the brakes start to bind, and I thought, I need to pull over, and so everybody's safe and all that. But man, I've just had a rough run with cars now, and now the good news is it's in the shop. So 4 teaspoons now in the lather. It's in the shop, and it'll probably be done by Monday. One of the motions I like to do when mixing is the push down, and if you're a regular viewer, you'll know that. But I think it helps the inside soap that's inside the brush to make sure it circulates a little better. You don't want that good soapy awesomeness, the concentrate, to stay inside the knot. I mean, I generally don't. You want it to integrate, everything to be consistent. So when I get to the end of my shaves and I squeeze out the lather that is inside the brush knot, it's the same lather that's in my bowl. And it's the same lather I got to enjoy the whole shave. I think a lot of guys do that, and then they squeeze out this awesome lather at the end, and it's like they missed out, you know? Now, some of those will then take that and use that for their third pass or something like that, and that's great. That's awesome. I mean, you do you, whatever you want to do. But for me, I like to use that awesome lather the whole time, and 40 seconds has made plenty of lather. All right, so, and you can see the splay of this badger knot. It is up there. I'm gonna get a little water on my face so that we can have something for the soap here to work with. And this knot feels great. Now, if you like firm brushes, you're gonna call this a floppy knot. If you like soft, cloud-like luxury type things, then you're going to like it. A lot of those firmer knots are very quick to have the lather evacuate the center of the knot, and I have to do a whole lot more of this side swiping and rolling it off the sides. But these softer knots don't do that as readily. And so it's a little easier to lather. It's not a big deal, but it's just a different characteristic of the brush. And I could probably go a little wetter, but I think I'm happy with this. Plenty of lather. Not very much in the scent department. Scent strength is pretty low, like maybe a 3 out of 10. I'm getting a hint of the almond. Other products that I might like a little bit better than this one, that are kind of in that Italian almond family, Vito's. Vito's has a Super Crema and a Super Crema Cocoa, I believe, and I've used those on this channel before. And I like those a lot. Performance is probably a little bit better with those guys, and scent probably a little bit better too. So we'll see how this old blade does with such growth today. Use a little bit of the goatee lather to tackle some of my trouble areas, give them a little bit extra attention. And a little half rinse. Now that was a very clean and quick rinse. I am not getting a lot of residual slickness from this guy. So maybe I'm glad I haven't used it too much. But sometimes that happens with the first pass because I have oily skin. So that can kind of defeat the lather a little bit on that first pass. I'm really glad that I stumbled upon these Whip Dog Silvertips and Golden Nib, because this is just to me what I like in shaving in terms of a brush knot. Just kind of soft, and the lather works so well in them, and they're not so soft that they can't pull up a good soap even a hard one, you know, it still works just fine. And who knows, I could have added just a little bit too much water. It looks nice, but this one may be one that I need to run a little drier. Now, I felt some stubble after that first pass, so I'm going to do a double with the grain pass here. Do that again for pass number 2. And this is very comfortable. I did feel some tugging on that first pass. Wasn't really too bad. This is a very comfortable shave right here. Obviously, I took off more hair than I thought. Very nice slickness here in terms of the razor feel and the glide and stuff. So even if it doesn't feel luxurious with the rinse, it's still doing a good job. Yeah, still rinsing very cleanly. A little bit better. I felt a little bit more of the lather right then than the first pass. So if you do want more of a kind of a residual slickness luxury feel, you may want to run this one a little drier than you think, or than I think at least, right? Just like the feel of these soft badgers. So now we'll switch to the cross grain. And just usually it's on pass 2, but since I had an extra bit of growth, decided to do with the grain on the normal pass 2. There we go. Still very slick. See if there's some touch-up stuff here in the goatee. Still nice and comfy. Got to relather on this one. Let's see, how does it feel? Yeah, the slickness in some cases is not sticking around a lot, so you will need to relather before coming back to doing touch-up spots and things like that. Now I'm starting to get kind of a little bit of a smooth feeling on my face and feel the kind of the remnants of the lather. All right, let's just do a polishing off. I probably have a decent shave right now, but let's just kind of do a polishing off fourth pass, especially for that little troublesome neck area right here. Extra stuff, so we did 4 passes, and we still have another 3 passes of lather easily. So we can reduce the load time next time maybe to 30 seconds or 25 and see where that puts us at. I'd like a little bit of extra margin, but not tons. Still pretty low scent strength. Very smooth shaves right now since most of the stubble has been taken care of. Feel like I'm being protected pretty well by the soap doing its job. Now some light cross grain here, passing just the opposite direction that I did most of the shave. All right, let's do it again. Flip it over. I guess a lot of people probably have kind of little little trouble spots. They have to try to work around. Sometimes it takes months of trying different things to figure out the right attack patterns. There we go. Face feels very smooth. Happy about that. All right, let's do a full rinse before we put on this crazy cooling menthol aftershave. All right, so that was 4 teaspoons of water, 40 seconds of loading, and it might be a little on the wet side of perfect. In the future, I might back off the water just a little bit, but it was really a pretty decent lather. All right, I'm going to shake it up a bit to make sure that the ingredients are integrated. And let's just see what kind of nasty coldness we're in for here. Kind of a spearmint kind of flavor right away, or peppermint rather. Peppermint. Definitely coming up to my eyes and kind of making them feel the fumes a little bit. We'll see if it stays a cooling sensation, or if it's like most of the menthol aftershaves, for me, more of a burning sensation. Yeah, a little more on the burning side. If I were to keep using this, I might get used to it. Or, you know, some kind of aftershave with menthol. If I thought that was good for me or something, then I bet I could get used to it. But yeah, this is very bracing. This is like the Altoids of aftershaves. Curiously strong. Yeah, interesting. I'll see when this goes away. But I think mainly just kind of a peppermint kind of scent to it. I like that part of it. All right, I wanted to say something about the Badger knots. This guy's, here's a little hair. And what happened with him was that he just wasn't really seated very well in the glue ball, and after a while they just kind of come out. I like that better than paying somebody at the factory to make sure it's a high quality knot by combing out all those extra hairs. I can just throw them in the trash can myself and save some money. So I'm happy about that. As long as I'm inside 50 shaves or so, and it's still, if it's still shedding a few hairs, it's not a big deal. And even if it's 1 or 2 after that per month or something, that doesn't bother me too much. A lot of guys value, if they've used a knot 2 weeks or something like that, and it's starting to shed, then they think there's something wrong with the knot, and that is not me. My eyes are watering. My eyes are watering because of this aftershave. All right. I haven't said this too much on my channel, and I just thought I would. If you face lather, you are putting soap in the brush that's very concentrated. You're doing it when you bowl lather too, but because you're working in the bowl, there's a potential there to have that be circulated like it does with me. But in either case, if you put concentrate on your brush, like when you load the brush, you got to make sure to get it out. Now with me, because I do that plunging motion, I do end up getting it out, and so rinses are pretty easy. But inside the brush, you need to make sure that soap gets out of the interior area there, because the chemical caustic properties of soap will cause the animal hair bristles, boar or badger, to break. It'll eat away at them if soap is left inside the brush. It's easy to see when soap is on the outside of the brush, so you don't really need to make that kind of PSA, public service announcement. But every once in a while, check the interior of your brushes and just make sure you don't have soap buildup there. Got to get that out, or your brushes won't last very long. So I just wanted to mention that. So that's what this guy looks after a towel stropping. His tips haven't gelled or anything like that, and most 3-bands don't. And I'm glad. I don't really like the gel tips. Wow, yeah. So my face, let's be, it's been 5 or 6 minutes now since I applied the aftershave, and I am crying because of the aftershave. Because of the fumes and stuff. However, I don't really feel it burning on my face anymore. So for those who like menthol, this might be a great option for you. All right, I'm gonna put some gear away here. All right, 8 minutes later, I'm still kind of crying. The fumes, my friends, the fumes. Also wanted to not forget to say a little bit about the lather games. I thought my last shave, because of the way I publish my videos, I do it on a bit of a delay so that I have enough time to make a reasonable write-up, and I'm not so stressed to try to get the write-up done in like an hour. But for the lather games, I'm going to have to change my my schedule a little bit to not give myself that much time, I think. And so I'm going to, this next shave, not this one, is the start of the lather games in terms of my my shaves. So there's that. If you haven't heard of lather games, it's starting on June 1st. I'm still crying. It's starting on June 1st, and you can even join halfway through if you decide to. You could, you have to become a Reddit member of just the Reddit website, get yourself a username and all that. Then you go to the wet shaving sub and or at the forum area in Reddit there. And then you can even, join in just the last week if you want to talk about whatever scents we're doing, whatever types of scents we're doing for that week. Just partial is just fine if you only want to just join for a little bit, if maybe you don't have a big sub collection. But you can also not be a part of the lather games, but tune in for certain days that you really enjoy. You can read up on what people are saying about certain scents, how creative they're being about, this scent represents this day because of this and this and this and this, even though it's not obvious, and then also there's going to be some talk about, I'm using a summer scent today that's citrus. Well, this citrus is scented in this direction, but then you're going to read a bunch of posts about other citrus scents, and so you can learn, this one is paired with kind of a woody note to make up this scent, but I'm using it on Citrus Day because that's part of it. Here we've got citrus with florals, or here we've got citrus with patchouli or oak moss, or all that kind of stuff. Anyway, join us if you want to. I should have maybe a link in the description of my video. There's a calendar you can search online. If you can't find it right away, post a message in the daily questions at Reddit on the wet shaving subreddit, and somebody will point you to the links. Very helpful people. There's a daily questions thread for every day, so that little small questions don't clog up the main root thread or the root area of the sub. All right. Well, aside from the crying, it's all over but the crying. I put everything away, and wow. I wonder when it's going to stop. I'll try to make a note in the text write-up, the description of this video, that tells you how long it took me to stop crying or something like that. Anyway, this was definitely a learning experience for me. I had been dreading trying the Arctique because I kind of figured something like this would happen. And it was good to revisit one of my favorite old brushes, a soft Badger, and it was great to try out the Valobra again. And I think I've realized that there are definitely some other soaps in that genre that I might prefer just a little bit more. All right. Well, there we go. Hope there was something good in here for you. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Take care.